Hi, everyone. Welcome to this LifeVantage opportunity call. My name's Courtney Watkins. I'm joining you out here in Cedar Hills, Utah. I'm really close to our office building of LifeVantage, and it's been really cool to see the office, the energy, and what we're doing. And I get to host this call today with Tyler Daniels. I feel so lucky and grateful to call him a friend and a mentor. When I joined LifeVantage, I joined Frontline to the company. And so, in a way, I kind of felt like I was out here on my own. And Tyler Daniels took me under his wing as a presidential consultant. He's one of the top leaders. He's a really good friend, and he has built over what, Tyler? $1 million organization. I have it in my notes so that I would remember what to say. But changing lives all over the world, really and truly teaching me what a global opportunity is. I've had experience in another network marketing company that was limited to a few different countries. And Tyler's really helped to pave the way and show what LifeVantage is capable of, and the message of activation and why finding a product that's unique, the culture, the community, the transparency, all of that, why it matters. When I first heard about network marketing, I was like, maybe some of you, it was like your friend told you about it, or your sister's cousin's neighbor was doing something. And what I've learned is really how much the company matters, the products and the people. So Tyler Daniels, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get us started on our slides.
That sounds good. Well, I'm glad to be here, you guys. I hope everybody had a really great Memorial Day weekend. I know that a lot of you guys know that Tosh and I both served in the United States Air Force, so that's kind of a special holiday that allows us to remember some of the sacrifices that people have made. So, hope you guys had a good time with your family. I hope that you guys, if you have somebody in your family that's in the military, that you've had a chance to kind of catch up with them after this weekend. So thanks for jumping on here. We got a big call tonight. It looks like we have quite a few people on here. We're up to like, what almost 70 now on the call. Yeah. Looking good. All right. So I have a couple things that I try to do on these calls. I haven't seen Courtney's slides, so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of tell my story and let her go. Slides. Noise. I'll go through and just tell my little story here, you guys, and I'll go through the things that I know are important, and then she can kind of scroll through her slides to wherever they match up, if that works for everybody. I have two different things that I try to do on these calls. One of them is for the guests. I know there's some people get on these calls that are wondering, what is this thing? You're trying to maybe make a decision as to whether or not you want to help us story. And so my goal for all the guests that are on this call is to give you like a 30,000 foot view of what's happening in this company. To maybe give you an idea of why a lot of us are excited about where this company is going, and the things and the decisions that are being made to empower all of us to be able to tell that story better. And then for all of us that are already, have already made that decision, that are already in the process of telling our friends, telling our family, telling the people that we work with what's going on in this company as maybe a solution for the health problems that we're experiencing out there, or maybe as a solution to the financial problems that a lot of people are experiencing in the world today. For all of you, I want to be able to give you an outline of how I think it is best to explain this to the people that you're talking to. So those are my two goals. And as we go through this, you'll probably hear me bounce back and forth a little bit on those to get through this call. So again, thanks for jumping on here, you guys. Hope you guys are ready to close out a really good month. We're going into the summer months, so I hope you guys had a lot of goals to get a nice big month as we lead into the summer, where there's a few little distractions that are going on. But my journey in this industry got started back when I was in the Air Force, back up in Montana. I was in the United States Air Force at Maggio-Harelson Air Force Base, and I got introduced to network marketing there. And I didn't have a ton of success in the very beginning. I was with a company, a really big company. You guys have all heard of them. But I was with them for about 6 months. And then I got out of that company, realizing that maybe it wasn't going to be my career path. And I finished my Air Force career. I met my wife in the Air Force. We got married 2 weeks after we met. We've been married 30 years now. I hope that some of you guys can appreciate that. 2 weeks in and 30 years later. We have 2 children together, and we have 1 grandson. So for all you grandparents on the call, I know exactly how you feel. They're the world. I love my grandson a ton. My daughter's giving me a second grandson here in about 2 months, so I'm excited about that too. We're gonna have a Jameson and a Jackson. But in those 30 years, after we got out of the Air Force, I became a real estate appraiser, and she became an insurance adjuster. And that's where we got introduced to this industry a lot, living here in Utah, where there's a lot of different companies. Now, in that period of time, I thought it was my job to talk people out of this industry, which is why this is such a huge transition for me to get to where I'm at in this industry today. Is at that time in my life, I thought that I'd kind of figured this thing out, and I just did not understand what I did not understand. There was a lot of things I didn't know, and I was accepting the answers from some of my friends as being, the truth, which they just simply weren't. So the first thing I'll ask you guys to do as we go through this information is be open-minded about what we're talking about tonight. Be a little bit open-minded. Don't just hear what we're saying and then listen to the person that's at your job that's going to try to maybe talk you in or out of this thing. Let's make some decisions based on information tonight as we go through this. But about 20 years ago or so now, I was invited to a meeting similar to what those of you that are on this call that are new, similar to this. I was invited to a meeting that was in person, and I sat there and I listened to those guys and didn't really pay attention to what they were saying. But after the meeting, my life started to change because I realized these people are a lot like me. And that's why some of us tell these stories in the beginning, is we want to find something that maybe you can relate to. I found out these guys like a lot of the same things I do. I mean, they have the same interest in their family. They want to provide for their family. They want to spend time with their family. And they made a couple commitments to me that allowed me to join that company. A couple of weeks later, a mentor of mine told me that I should do it as a backup plan. And that was the kind of the first thing that I objected to, really, is when he was trying to get me to do this as a backup plan. I just didn't see it, but I chose to listen to that mentor. And that's one of the things I would advise you guys to do tonight is, understand that in life you can be doing really, really well, and it's never a bad thing to have a backup plan. So I pursued this industry at that point. I was able to replace my income pretty quickly within about 2 years as a real estate appraiser. I was able to replace Tasha's income as an insurance adjuster pretty quickly after that. We then left that company after about 4 years because of some differences of opinion, some difference in some things that we just thought were ethical things. We left that company, joined another company for 2 years, and we left that company to find this one. And this we found this company about 15 years ago now, 14 years ago. But when we came to this company, we came here with a list of things that we wanted to look for, a list of boxes that we needed to check off. And that's kind of what we're going to go through here tonight. So in these last 15 years, Tosh and I have built an organization that does well over $10 million a month in sales. It does over $100 million a year in annual sales, and has generated about 1.7 billion, 1.8 billion maybe now in total sales with LifeVantage. And so the reason I tell you that is for two reasons. One is because the products that this company has are very, very important. The products that this company has are very impactful in people's lives. The products that this company has are impacting the health problem that a lot of people are experiencing as they get older. And in turn with that, it's also been a solution on the financial side because we pay roughly 40 to 50% of every dollar that comes in back in commissions. So I'm proud of two things when I tell you all those numbers. Some people think I'm just out tooting my horn. I'm not. What I'm really trying to show you is that people are excited about these products, but also that there's a huge financial benefit knowing that $700 to $800 million worth of commissions have been paid back to people that have helped us tell this story. So if you're here for the health reasons, we'll go through some of that here tonight. If you're here for the financial reasons, no, this is a legitimate way for you to generate an income and solve some of those problems. So let's start off with the 5 things that I think are really important. What I learned in those first 2 companies is that having transparency in a company is really important. Having a company that is going to tell you what's going on does a lot of things for you. One of the things that I think I appreciate the most is the fact that it will tell you where they're spending their money. Are they spending it on research and development? Are they spending it on their corporate team? Are they spending it in commissions? I mean, you can actually verify how much they do pay out in commissions if you have a company with transparency. I like to know that if for transparency, if it's a public versus a private company. In a public company, if they make any changes to the ingredients or the way that they're formulating their products, I like to know that they have to tell us because they have to tell the shareholders what they're doing, because shareholders are obviously investing in that company based on whether that company is going to be able to sustain or grow or expand what their products will do, or the exposure their products have. And so I love that about the transparency. It was really important for me to know that the company was a publicly held company, and every 90 days they had to tell us. So to answer a couple of those questions, $2.3 million in research, just to make sure that we can stay committed to the activation message that we're going to talk about here for a minute. $2.3 million. I know how much they spend on their corporate team. I know that they spend between roughly about 40 to 45% in commissions right now in the current comp plan. That means that they're very invested into making sure that we have the tools necessary to go out and tell people what these products are. So publicly held, check that box. The next thing that I needed to look at is I needed to look at the products and make sure that the products, in my opinion, were somewhat unique. Now, what that means is that they're just not a me too. I didn't want to be selling a product that you could just go anywhere and buy. I wanted to have a product that had something special about it, something that you had to buy from me. I mean, if I'm going to spend my time and my effort to go out and talk to you about something, I want to know that you can't find it anywhere else. And so how I got introduced to this product was through an ABC Primetime video that we're not going to play tonight, but you can see it if you want to see it. This ABC Primetime was John Quinones doing kind of an exposure piece. He was going to try to tell the world whether this product was everything we said it is, or was going to tell them that it's not. And so he went in and he did the blood tests. He did the 30-day testing at the University of Colorado just to find out if this really could reduce something called oxidative stress in your body. And after 30 days, his oxidative stress levels were all the way back to where his were supposed to be as a teenager. Excuse me, I've had a cold all weekend long, you guys. Sorry about that. So his oxidative stress levels were all the way back to where they were as a teenager, where his body was performing at its very highest level. Now, from a business point of view, what that meant for me is that I had a product now that everybody that was, say, 20 years or older needed, a product that everybody on the planet could use, a product that was not readily available at, say, the grocery store or at the GNC or at the Walgreens. I had a product now that was maybe the next conversation in understanding how do we effectively slow down the aging process. I now have a product that will do the very thing that most of us are really, really chasing after as we get older, which is to feel like we did when we were young. I needed to know that. I also needed to know that it wasn't available anywhere else. And that's where the patents on this product became important. So we have several patents on this product. Those early studies then led to a bunch of other studies that were being done at the most respected places in our communities. Now, for me, I love the fact that I can lean on those experts. I love the fact that I can look and say, look, the National Institutes of Aging have done a study, or that Harvard has done a study. I love being able to say that there's 30. In fact, I even heard there's 32. It might be all the way up to 32 now studies that we have on this product and its ability to reduce that oxidative stress in your system, and how effective that is from the most credible places around the world as well. It's not just here in the United States, it's also international. So those two pieces, the transparency and the fact that this company now has the backing of the people that we trust the most, the experts that we trust the most, that are using their money and their resources and their facilities to go out and test this product, that meant something to me. It meant that I no longer had to use my own personal credibility to invite someone to be a part of telling the world about what this company is doing. I could just say, they tell us everything every 90 days. And here's all the universities that are saying that we should use this if we want to feel better, if we want to slow the aging process down, if we want to reduce that oxidation in our body, if we want our body to behave like it did when we were young. I got excited about that. The next thing that we did, though, in the product category is about 4 years ago now, we hired some consultants to come in and take a look at what our company was doing. We said, you know what, we're a pretty good sized company. We're doing about $200 million a year. We want to grow this company, but we need to know if there's something that we can do to maybe make our messaging better, to make sure that our activation message is more current than, say, what it was, say even 10 years ago. And they said, what you need to do is you need to bring collagen into the conversation. They said, you've got to bring this collagen in because a lot of people are starting to understand the importance of collagen in your body, but do it from the perspective of activating the collagen production in your body, not just eating a bunch of extra collagen or drinking a bunch of extra collagen. Let's do it from the perspective of making your body behave like it did when you were young again. So now you have a product in Protandim that is telling your body to activate the NRF2 pathway, behave like you did when you were young, reduce oxidation. Let's give it collagen as the ingredient that will now maximize its ability to restore itself. And that messaging started to make a lot of sense to me, even though in the beginning, I like to joke around and say I wasn't excited about collagen because I thought I was going to get killed. I thought I was going to be walking up to women and asking them if they've seen how deep their crow's feet are, for example. And I was not excited about doing anything like that. I was not excited about saying, have you seen how poorly you've aged? Collagen will help you look better. I was not excited about that until I started to understand the importance of collagen and the fact that it's the single most important protein in your body. It's the one protein in your body that's a building block. It allows your body to have structure. It allows your body to actually look like it does. Every cell in your body uses collagen. And when you combine that with your body's ability to now restore itself by giving it that ingredient, you now can maximize that restoration. Now, for me, all that means, all that means is that I'm now going to give myself the best chance possible for some kind of a peak restoration or a peak recovery so that I can have peak performance. So for me, if my body is behaving like it did when I was young, I have more energy, I have more alertness, I'm more awareness. I'm going to look younger. I'm going to feel better, which means I'm going to be a lot better parent. I'm going to be a lot better employee, or I'm going to be a lot better entrepreneur, or I'm going to be just a lot better, more effective in my life. And that's what made sense to me. Okay. Now, since then, we've cleaned up a couple other things in our product line. The skincare line is a very, very popular thing in this industry. But what people don't understand is that there's a dirty scale in your products that you're using. So you want to make sure that your products are as clean as possible. And that's what we spent this last year doing, is making sure that our skincare line now, so the external side of this, Protanim's an internal product, collagen's an internal product. The external side now is the cleanest, least toxic product that you can possibly be using to, again, increase your ability to get those benefits that we're all looking for. We're very, very excited about that. Now, I get access to some information sometimes a little bit ahead of other people because I'm part of the field advisory board for this company. I think you're going to be really excited about the products that they're going to launch over the next year or two as well. And if we have anywhere near the kind of success with those products that we had with Protandim and collagen, you're going to see this company start to go from 2 to 3 to 4 or even $500 million in sales volume. So let me give you an example of why I can say that. We were told that on the collagen products that we should expect to increase our sales by about 12 to $15 million that first year. We grew it by 35 million that first year. And we are knocking on the door right now in only about 2 years of selling close to $100 million worth of collagen. That's how effective it's been. We have a lot of different slide decks that are out there that start talking about, or start showing before and after pictures with people. I would suggest you should go see some of those. You guys are, I'm just giving you this presentation. I'm probably not following Courtney's slides very well here. I'm just kind of going through my presentation, but there's a lot of them out there. I mean, we have several hundred of these pictures of before and after pictures. If you want to be effective talking about collagen, just show people the effects. It will help you to where you don't have to be the one that memorizes all of the information about increasing superoxide dismutase or increasing catalase or the reduction of the MM9 gene. You're not going to have to know about the 10 different types of collagens that we have. You're not going to have to know all that stuff if you're willing to show people the before and after pictures, because they speak for themselves. And so I get kind of excited about where the company is at and what the company is doing today, because we check a lot of boxes off. Okay, so we have the transparency in the fact that we're publicly held. I'll give you the ticker symbol. It's LFVN if you want to go look us up. Every quarter we put out our numbers. Then we have the products that are unique, can't get them anywhere else, backed up by the experts in our world, by the universities, putting their time, their money, their resources, using their facilities to do the studies on these. 32 of these peer reviews, which, by the way, peer review means they do a study, they get a result, they then send it to a peer. The peer does the study again. If they get the same result, they publish those in medical journals. It's a standard that this industry has not seen before. And I believe that the future is going to demand it, because we're now saying, in the past where it maybe wasn't demanded, we're now proving that you can, and other companies are going to have to live up to that expectation. I like to be a part of the company that is setting the standard that others will have to meet. I don't want them to set it and then us have to go ahead and meet that standard. I love being the one that is actually leading the conversation, leading that standard, or setting that standard. Okay. All right. We've gone through some products. Compensation plans, a fun piece, you guys. It's the third one. Compensation plans are interesting. I've been a part of the comp plans a lot. I'm actually more involved in the compensation plans more so than even the products, because I was a real estate appraiser. I mean, real estate appraisers are basically accountants. That's what we are. We're just real estate accountants. We go in and look at homes, measure them, figure out square footage, look at damage, look at how old, new they are, locations, things. And we're just doing, it's just all math equations, which is why I love compensation plans. But here's the thing about compensation plans that I think people need to understand. Compensation plans drive behavior. End of discussion. They simply drive behavior. So if you don't have somebody who understands how to drive the behavior of encouraging you to go out and actually tell somebody what this is, so the enrollment process, the invite process, your compensation plan will not adequately reward you for doing that behavior. If you don't understand the importance of having a team and how to build that team and how do you get paid on multiple levels so that you can reach down into those organizations and then identify the person that's going to benefit the most from your help, or that you can establish some leadership or establish some behaviors that will then stabilize that team, then you don't have a good comp plan. We have to be able to reward you for that. We also have to be able to reward you for developing that leader into someone who is now independent of you. So you have to have a compensation plan where like with what Courtney and I have been doing, where you can actually teach and train and develop them to where they're completely independent. They no longer really need your support, which, by the way, here's a hint. As you build your team, you should actually never really walk away from them. Even though they can behave independently, your value, the effort, when I put effort in, I generally put it where it's not needed because it's almost like, together we're stronger. And that's just a little hint to you, okay? But then you also need to understand in compensation plans that there's a cultural piece to this. There's a part of this to where maybe you want to get paid from what my organization does. And when I do these presentations and I give you all those numbers, and some people misunderstand why I'm doing it, I like to do it because of this. I like to say, how would you like to get paid from the 1.7 billion that I've put into this company, or that my team has put into this company? How would you like to get paid from the 10 million a month that my organizations generate of revenue for this company? How would you like to get paid from that? Because if you want to get a piece of that, you would either have to have built it yourself in a traditional plan, or you have to be a part of a comp plan that rewards you with a cultural bonus, rewards you with what we call a pool bonus. So real quickly, let's talk about these bonuses. We have, in the beginning, the enrollment bonus, where you're going to build two basic things. You're going to build a customer base and you're going to build a consultant base, okay? The customer base allows you to go out and introduce people to this information. And as they buy the products to benefit from these products, you can earn 10 or 20% on the initial purchase based on whether they're doing a retail order or whether they're doing a subscription order. We encourage subscriptions because you don't have to sell it to them every month. They just automatically buy it. You get 10% for that. But as your group of customers grows, you can earn up to 20% more, giving you 30% on those subscriptions, or 40% if it's a retail base, but you have to put a lot more work into that. Just keep that in mind. It might sound like a bigger percentage, but you're going to do more work for it if it's retail. So we encourage subscriptions, okay? But 30% of a subscription base means that if you're trying to go out and maybe make up for, I don't know, maybe not building your 401k or not building a pension, or maybe you're looking at the Social Security payments and you're going, you know what, I'm just not going to be able to live on that when I'm 67 years old, or whenever you decide you're going to take that at 62 or 67 or 70. Maybe you're looking at those saying, I need to supplement that a little bit. Well, what if you went out and you had, say, 30 to 50 customers that were doing $4,000 in volume, where you start getting that extra 20? It's an extra $1,200 a month. It's an extra $14,000 a year on top of all of whatever you have in your 401k, or or whatever you have in your pension, or whatever you're expecting to get from your Social Security. It's an extra $14,000. Now, I teach a principle, you guys, in this business where I say you and a friend go do this. Just you and a friend do this for the next 5 years, with a goal to get 30 to 50 customers a year for the next 5 years. And by following this simple process, and we can do a training on this another day if you'd like me to, I can show you how to generate a $200,000 a year income with just you and a friend by going out and building a $40,000 customer pool each. Now, for me, that seems like a lot simpler than what most of us have been taught about this industry in the past. If you and a friend can use these peer reviews, use products that you cannot get anywhere else, if you and a friend can go out and show people a product that's going to have this kind of a health benefit, a solution to the health problems that is this great, I believe in 5 years, you could go out and continue to build that customer pool big enough to get that 30% on 10 or 20 or 30 or even 40. You can do it as big as you want, by the way. I say 40,000 just because it's a number that makes sense when I do my math. But you could have 100,000 in there if you just wanted to focus just on customers. Now, why does that matter? Why am I spending time talking about this very topic? Well, because as we were developing this current form of our compensation plan, it was really important to us that we could attract every style of a builder. We could attract that person that maybe wasn't real interested in the multi-level side of it, but they were interested in our products, and they were interested in more of a direct-to-customer relationship, a direct-to-consumer relationship. We wanted to show them that if they'll build that kind of a subscription base, they can build an income that they can count on that is significant enough to, in many cases, replace what they've been trying to build in a 401k or a pension or that Social Security in many cases. Okay, it was very important to us to do that. Now, the second thing was we wanted to be able to provide the person who wants to maybe just dabble into the MLM side, because there's so much more wealth to be created on the multi-level side. What if you just built one leg and a customer bucket? Could we pay you on that? It was important for us to know that we could pay you with just one organization and then give you total control of moving through the compensation plan all the way to the executive one rank, which is only one below the highest category you can be. It was really important to us to know that you just had to build one leg in a customer pool to get there. And by doing that, it would create a multiple benefit in your commissions. Okay. We also said we want to be able to build two. So on the team building side, what if you're part of a company right now that is a binary structure? What if you're part of a company right now that builds two legs and you're very familiar with that? We said, we want to be able to bring you here, transition you into this company, allow you to not have to interrupt any of those relationships, build your binary structure, and then take total control of that third obligation or that third requirement by building a customer pool and move all the way to the top of the company. So we created that as well. Now, if you're like me and you understand this industry, if you're like Courtney and you understand this industry, where we know the power of leverage, we know that by inviting people to calls like this, where we know that if we can get people to look at this from those two solutions we're trying to find, one for the health and one for the finances, and help them understand that this company is providing a solution to both, we can build a team. See, we know we can build 3, 4, 5, or even 10 different lines of teams. And by doing this, we can start getting paid from the efforts of thousands of other people in small little increments that add up to a whole bunch of money. And that's what our comp plan allows you to do. Okay. So we did that for the team building side. The leadership development side is 7 generations of 20%. It's really, really big. Just understand this. If you can go out and do like I did, I've signed up 36 people to help me build this business. 12 of them did. So I've signed up 36. 12 of them did. That's it, just 12. Those 12 people that I helped develop into leaders have created my entire income. My entire income. That is well in excess at this point of over $30 million. 12 people did that. That's it. Only 12 of my 36 total people. Okay. So we encourage people to spend the time to develop those leaders for your team. What it does for me is it allows me to create independence throughout my organization that now creates stability in my organization, that allows me to now have confidence that I can provide for my family the way that I want to, that I can count on this income, that I have now created a passive income, a leveraged income for myself that no longer is dependent on my actual time or my actual involvement in the generation of that income. And that's what we're trying to do here. Okay. Now, the last piece is the pool bonus. By hitting that executive 1 rank that I told you could do with you and a friend, by hitting that very first executive rank, you start to get 1 share of a pool that is now 4% of the entire company, which includes my volume. So if you want to know how to get paid from me, you and a friend can get paid from what my organization's already doing. You and a friend can go out and get to that executive 1 rank, and you can start getting paid from my team now. You can earn up to 20 pieces of that pool, and each one of those pieces is roughly $1,000. So do the math on that. If you hit the presidential rank in this company, it's roughly 20 grand a month that's paying you for what the whole company does, not just your team, but paying you on what Courtney does, or paying you on what I do, or the several other leaders. You heard Brett Hodges' name in here. He's a leader in Canada. You get paid on his team. He's in another country from where I live, and I get paid on his team as well. So you could get that extra, it's an extra $240,000 a year that's just extra. And I promise you, by the time you get there, you don't need it. Okay, it's just fun to get because you know you can help everybody. So people ask me all the time, why do you do calls? Why do you do calls for, like Courtney, who's not on my natural team? Well, she's on my company team. She's not part of my organization, but she's on my company team. This is why I do this. This is why I travel around the world, and I've been all over the world doing this. I travel around the world, and everyone is welcome to the meetings that I do because my company team, there's a benefit, there's a cultural bonus in our compensation plan. And the fact that I love to help everybody. I love to see the benefit of seeing this change their health and change their finances. Okay. All right, let's jump into another. The 4th thing is actually the cultural piece. I kind of covered all that. The last thing I like to talk about on these calls, you guys, is the growth potential. I actually think this, once you check those other boxes, this one becomes the determining factor. The growth potential is where the real wealth is created. And for me, you can have all the rest. And if you don't have this, I'm probably not going to look, I'm not going to make the same level of commitment. Let's just say it that way. Okay. Because I look at the industry, and I've studied this industry a lot. I believe that the mistake people make is they only study their company without understanding that there's a lot of industry things that you need to know if you want to be effective at leading teams. And so I've spent a lot of my time on the industry, like what are the demographics, who makes up the majority of the people participating, which, by the way, is women. For anybody that's wondering, it's about 87% of the people in this industry are women. And I think it's because, it's just a hit it and get it space. And women are way better at this business than most men are, by the way. So there's a hint for all you men out there. If you want to have big businesses, find the Courtneys of the world. Go find the Courtneys. Go find Courtneys to be on your team. That's who you want to be on your team. Okay. And if you're a woman, go find other powerful, strong women to be on your team. They dominate our industry. But here's what I look at from a growth potential piece. Okay. If you look at the way the big legacy companies have grown, there's several different plateaus that they hit. One of them is between 150 to 200 million in sales. Companies hit this mark, and a lot of them get stuck there. But the ones who make it past that, the ones that we all know about, the Amways, the Nu Skins, the Herbalifes, the Tupperwares, the big ones, the USANAs, the Mary Kays, right? All the big companies that are out there, those companies hit that plateau and then had to go back in and really identify themselves. They had to make some very difficult decisions. They had to go all in on like for us, it's activation. They had to go all in on whatever their core was, whatever their core message was. And if they could effectively do that, they could go from that 200 million to the next plateau, which is about 700 million. And then they had to do it again to become the multi-billion-dollar companies that they are today. And that's where they stabilize. So for me, the growth potential comes from, do I want to be in that very first 0 to 200 million phase, which we all call chaos? It's the startup phase. It's filled with, we don't know who we are. It's filled with, let's try this and hope it works. So it's filled with a whole bunch of questions. Or do we want to be a part of that company that's sitting at the 200 million, bringing advisors in, bringing consultants in, willing to commit to the activation message, willing to take a hard look at the way we compensate people and make sure that we're rewarding the right behaviors? Do you want to be a part of that company that's going to go now from 200 million to say 700 million, where you're going to 3 or 4 times what the company's already done? Now think about that. This is a place where you're organized. This is a place where you have an understanding. This is where you're making decisions based on data and details. You're making decisions that are no longer chaos. You're making decisions that are no longer, let's try it and see. You're making decisions now on, we know exactly by doing this, it will reward this. We know that this behavior is going to allow you to move through the ranks faster. That's the growth potential I'm talking about. If you look at our company and you say, okay, there's a couple hundred people, let's just say, at the executive ranks, we will have to have 1,000 people at those ranks to be at the next plateau. That means every single person on this call could have all of you and another one of you plus another 5 of them at those executive ranks just to get to the next plateau. That's called growth potential. That means that we're at the very, very beginning of where this company wants to be. So I'll wrap this thing up with this, you guys. When you look at the boxes that I think are important, if you're going to make a decision on helping us tell the story, when you're looking at the boxes about where I think you're going to have the most opportunity to change your financial situation or help those people that need this from a health situation, find that solution for them. When you connect all those boxes together, I think this is an amazing opportunity for you. In fact, I'll review it really quickly. Complete transparency, 100% unique products with 30 peer reviews, patents, can't get it anywhere else. Compensation plan that is the single most modern, most accepting comp plan of any style of build that you can possibly have, with a cultural element that means we all work together. A rising tide raises all ships, and we're at 200 million. The chaos is over. The organized, data-driven phase is the next phase, and you get to be a part of that. As we grow the company to 700 million, when we go through this little consultant experience again at 700 million and go to $1 billion, you'll be so insulated from anything the company does affecting your commissions. That's the benefit of timing. And that's why you want to be in now. So in my opinion, from all the experiences I've had doing this for 20 years, you want to try, if you had a magic wand, you want to try to avoid the startup chaos phase, join at the very, very beginning of that data-driven organized phase, and then go for the ride to becoming a legacy company. And that's where this company's headed. We're going to be a legacy company because we're setting standards that have never been met before. We're answering questions the industry has never answered before. Where's your proof? We have it. We have 32 of them published in medical journals by the experts. Where's your proof? Okay. Publicly held. Where's your proof? Every quarter, we tell you all the proof. And that's what we have here today. So I would encourage you guys just to go back to the very, very beginning. If you're brand new and hearing this, I give a 30,000 foot kind of view of this thing. Every one of these topics I've trained on for hours at a time. So, if you ever want to come in and go through a really, really in-depth, detailed training on why does transparency matter, I can do 2 and 3 hours of that. I can do 2 or 3 hours of product. I can do 2 or 3 hours of comp plan we do this. My goal for all of you that were brand new was just to give you a taste, though, to maybe ask the next question, maybe get involved and go through this learning curve with us. But for all the rest of us, all the rest of you that I see a lot of familiar faces on here, please tell this entire story. Tell the story from the perspective of stacking all these blocks together. Understand that if you're talking to me and you only talk about products, you would probably never sign me up. And I'll bet most people would enjoy signing me up. So you need to tell the whole story. You've got to tell me about the product box, and you've got to tell me about the compensation box. You've got to tell me about the transparency box. You've got to tell me the cultural piece, and then where the company sits. So just tell that whole story. So use this format, use this structure, and I think you'll be a lot more successful in going through this. So, with all that being said, I really appreciate Courtney asking me to do this. I know she's been doing these calls, man, like every week, I think. Haven't you, Courtney, been doing them every single week? Courtney and I, we started having these conversations. It's been what, 2 years now? Probably 2 years ago we started having these conversations. And it was funny because she knew Kristen from her neighborhood, I think is where you guys met. And so Kristen had me start texting her. I have text threads with Courtney that are just ridiculously long. I know all about her being a baseball mom. I know all about her kids and when they're doing these things. And we built this really cool friendship that allows us to have these calls. And so I hope you guys will benefit from this. I hope you guys will use this information. And I feel inspired to say one last thing. I know sometimes these things drag on, but I want to say one last thing to you guys. Okay. I get asked all the time if we can do like a recorded presentation that I could just show somebody. And I really strongly want to suggest to you that you need to make your presentation. It's just different when you can do it yourself. Okay. It's fine to learn from a presentation that I do, but if it's your presentation, it will be more effective. So I would strongly encourage you to make your own slideshow, make your own deck, keep it simple, try to keep it less than 30 minutes, but do it in whatever order it made sense to you. Like what makes sense to me is the order I did. I know other people that lead with the products first. I know other people that lead with just the cultural piece first. I know some people that lead with how our teams are so supportive of one another. So build a slide deck that is very comfortable for you to deliver the message. Just make sure it has all the pieces in it. That's all you've got to do. And then you'll be effective. Okay. Take full ownership of your business, you guys. I could not have built this business if I was not fitting it into every little nook and cranny of my life. I did that for a very short period of time until I had bought my freedom back. That was worth it to me because here was my choices in life. I was the oldest of 7. My dad was a probation parole officer. My mom was a stay-at-home mother, 7 children, right? And so we came from very, very limited resources, let's say. So my choices were to go work for somebody for 45 years, hope I could save a couple $100s a month, which was probably more disposable income than I had early in my life, so that by the time I was 65, I could have some kind of a retirement. Those were my options. I chose to go in the military because it provided some medical, assurance for me. It provided a stable income. I chose to do that for 4 years until I realized that was not going to be a career path for me. So my choices were 45 years, or I could start to understand leveraged income. So now what I teach people to do as I travel around the world is if you did not invest from the time you were 25 until say you were 45, and you've got 20 years to make up, let us help you do that. Let us help you do that. Let us help you make that up by creating a passive income through a leveraged income. Let us help you build a team of people that are going to benefit from these products. One of the weird benefits, and maybe I shouldn't say it's weird, maybe one of the most profound benefits that you're going to get from this is as you travel around, you're going to hear how these products have impacted people's lives. And I mean, in many cases, almost from a miraculous standpoint. There is a really incredible feeling knowing that if you had the courage to talk about this, that the butterfly effect of that first conversation you had led to somebody that led to somebody that led to somebody that ultimately allowed these products or this company to land in someone's lap that's either praying for a solution for their health or praying for a solution to the financial problems that are out there. It's very, very gratifying to know that if I had the courage to do that it had that kind of an impact. So I chose to shortcut the 45 years. And in the beginning, I had no idea that I was going to get the satisfaction, the emotional satisfaction of hearing how these products have benefited people. I mean, I was all finance in the beginning. Okay. I had no idea that I would come full circle on that. But I chose not to follow the 45-year path because I looked at this as a 5 to 10-year plan that would make it to where I was able to basically retire at 42 years old. I mean, I still do these things, so I'm not entirely retired, I guess most people could argue, other than this is completely voluntarily. I do this voluntarily now. This is 100% because I'm choosing to help. Okay. It allowed me to shortcut that 45-year plan by 20 something years because I was able to understand this industry. Okay. So I would encourage you guys to all do that. So with that, you guys, I like I said, I've had a cold. My voice is scratchy. I'm coughing. I'm going to go and clear that out if I can, but I'll turn this thing back over to Courtney. Thanks for inviting me on. It's good to see everybody on this call, and I'll catch up with you guys somewhere around the world as I'm traveling.
Tyler, thank you so much. And thanks for that added bonus of a little training on this business. Because today I was at the water park with my kids. And as I'm like laying in the wave pool and going up the slides, there are people my age working at the water park, walking around with clipboards, hot weather clothes. And I'm like, they are working hard for their money. And it was something that I could post on my phone. I could do different things and have that freedom with my kids. And I went through breast cancer 5 years ago. And ever since going through that, it changes your view of how you spend your time and what your priorities are. And one of the things that I've learned from this industry, and especially now with this Evolve compensation plan, is really the law of you don't have to work hard for the money. It's getting in that alignment with it. And with our products activating your cells, they align so incredibly together because we all know if we feel good, we bring our best selves and we're the most energetic and magnetic. And so just being there today as I'm hosting this event, I'm inviting guests, I'm making slides from the water park and still going down slides. And I see people that are working really hard. I love that we have an opportunity that we can share that literally everyone can do from their phone, from sharing, if it's samples, if it's social media, whatever it might look like, we can all do it different. And you are such an amazing example of that. We all appreciate your mentorship and sharing what is possible. So we highly recommend you guys go back and connect to the person that invited you on this call. If you guys want this slide deck, let me know. I'm happy to share it. If you guys want to make your own, go for it, do it. I know Tyler pushed me out of the nest before I was ready to start sharing this because it was way out of my comfort zone and it's really been amazing. So thank you for taking the time to hang out with us tonight, to learn with us. And I know I'm feeling inspired and ready to just rock and roll and have a lot of fun with this LifeVantage opportunity.